Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Whizbit's Random Gaming and Whizbit's Random Topics. Slightly different video tonight. Haven't really had the opportunity to set up a camera and put myself in front of it and have a chat. So I thought I'd do something different and play some gameplay of a classic shooter in Darius Burst as I just chat about this week's chosen subject. So before we get into the video, just a quick moment just to let you know we are offering channel memberships now for as little as 99 pence. We've also got a Facebook group. I'll leave a link to both of what I've just mentioned in the video description below. If any of them sound good to you, please check them out. It'd be much appreciated. Now, anyway, the subject I want to talk about today is collecting video games. Where does it end? Where does it stop for you personally? Now, before we get into this, I need to kind of explain where I am as a collector, where I see myself going as a collector, the future of what I want to purchase, what I maybe want to look to move on, and plans in general of how I plan on carrying on with this fantastic hobby in the latter part of 2025 and moving forward. So for me, a lot of it comes down to space. I don't really have the greatest amount of space. I don't have a games room. I have a gaming area, which is already taking up a significant part of my home, much to the dismay of my wife. I think if I was to look to expand that area, I would be sleeping with my GameCube games and every other game that's surrounding it. So, yeah, I don't really have plans to expand. Not that much anyway, not unless I can get massively creative down the line, which I don't rule out because you never know. Sometimes you have a look at your setup and you think, I can do this, I can do that. And some of those ideas might be outlandish, but one or two could come to fruition. So that leaves me with where am I going to go? Now, I keep looking at some of my games and I only collect disc-based stuff, pretty much for the most part. I think the only cartridge-based stuff that I currently collect for would be the Evercade, which I would like to achieve a full set of. Now, the Evercade is a collection that is still ongoing, so I don't know how long that's going to be going, but I do need to start looking to expand my Evercade area as it's pretty much full up, in all honesty. And I think with that in mind, I need to start looking at some of the disc-based stuff that maybe I accumulated during my current collecting phase, and have a look and see if I really need them. Start swapping them out, trading them in where possible, and look to bring in more significant pieces that suit myself as a collector. Now, I've gone through many a collecting phase over the years, sold collections on, but I'm at a stage now where I'm currently happy with what I've got, and I won't be getting rid of this collection anytime soon. It's pretty much the most serious I've ever been in terms of collecting. So I don't want to get rid of too much, but there is stuff here that I would consider fodder that I picked up once I was trying to fill out my collection in the early days of starting once again. So I need to go through some of those gaming collections. So primarily I'm looking at my Nintendo Wii section. I'm looking at my Xbox 360 section and my PlayStation 2 section. There's definitely games in there that I can move on to create space. Now, the dilemma that I've got is a lot of these that I might consider fodder that I might have been picking up in the early days of starting this collection once again probably aren't going to be worth that much in terms of trade value. So they're not going to really help me achieve bringing in any of the games that I would like to add to the collection. Not at this stage anyway. But really thinking about it, that's okay. that's not really my primary goal here. It's not really me. It's not a case of me getting rid of X amount of games, using the profit, if any, to bring in select games. The whole point behind the thought process I have here is to get rid of some of these games just to make room for these games. That is the end goal. So I need to go sit down at some point and just make some pretty tough decisions, to be quite honest with you, because a lot of these games I don't really want to get rid of, but there's definitely some that I should be looking to get rid of. And then I need to start looking at my current gaming setup. Now, I'm really happy with what I've got at the moment, but in order to create potential more real estate type space for incoming titles, I might have to look at some of the consoles I currently have on display. Now, for example, the GameCube. I've got a GameCube settled in one of my storage units, sitting here ready to play as and when I need to. But does it really need to be there? I've got a Wii set up here somewhere as well, which is also going to give me the capabilities of playing GameCube titles. Now, on the flip side of that, I also have a Wii U that gives me the capabilities of playing Nintendo Wii titles. Now, I've got a PlayStation 3 here. Gives me the capabilities of playing PlayStation 1 games. I don't have the PS3 where you can play the PS2 games, but that's okay. I've got the PS2 and I don't really want to be moving the PS2 on anyway. I like the console itself and I'm happy to have it on display and ready to use. So I think a lot of us collectors probably find themselves in this position at some point. Now, my friend James, he has got an absolutely fantastic collection. Absolute tons of games. But he's at the point now where he is not really interested in, your everyday titles. He's definitely looking at more of accumulating a collection. He plays his games, don't get me wrong. But he's definitely looking at picking up higher end titles. Now, I'm not at the stage James is. I love his collection. He's absolutely amassed a fantastic amount of quality stuff, rare stuff, and aesthetically to walk in and have a look at what he's got, it's breathtaking. Now, for many reasons, I'm not in a position to kind of look to achieve what my friend James is doing. I put a game room tour of James's room on the channel a few months back, so you can go and check that out. I'll try and leave a link in the video description below, but it wouldn't be a fair reflection on his collection because he's changed the room around so much and accumulated so much more stuff. But for me, I need to approach where I go moving forward slightly differently. I need to sit down and curate a list of games that I really do want to add to the collection, that I feel represent myself as a gamer, as a collector, and make sure that I can find the space for these games. Now, of course, there's going to be some titles in here that I'm not going to be getting rid of, even though there's definitely good reason to do so. Now, a prime example of this is I'm going for the Wii U full set. For better or for worse, I have made that decision. It gives me focus on collecting when I'm going out. If I don't happen to find anything else that I can see, I'm looking around for Wii U games. But it's getting very difficult and I am coming towards the end of that journey. So I don't want to be moving any Wii U titles on, although there is a ton of questionable titles that I've picked up on that system in order to achieve this that could create some space. But I would like to say that I own 1 or 2 full sets. The Wii U is a fairly easy to achieve one. Well, I'm going to say easy. Easy in the grand scheme of things compared to, say, for example, the NES, the Super Nintendo, the Mega Drive. Things like that, the PAL collections and NTSC, depending on how hardcore a collector you are very difficult and very expensive to obtain. So I opted for the Wii U one. It is kind of that popular one, and yes, I fell in line and followed the herd. shall we say. There's a lot of people going for this in order to achieve the same thing that I'm going for. Now, I understand why. I understand it so much so that I opted to do it myself. So I need to sit down and have a look and see what PlayStation 2 games do I really want. I keep saying to myself, I'm done with PS2, bar a select few titles. But then I keep seeing games that I want. So that's going to be a difficult one to work out for the PS2. The 360 is a collection that I'm quite happy with. There's some that I probably will look to move on to create space, and a few select titles that I still would like to add to the collection. But looking at all of the PAL releases, to be quite honest, on that system, I don't think I'm far away from obtaining everything that I'm really interested on the 360. Same goes for the PlayStation 3. But then you've got the dilemma of looking to collect for systems that are still actively being released for. Now, my big passion at the moment, and has been for some time, is Nintendo Switch. Now, I'm really happy with my Nintendo Switch collection. I've probably got 130 plus games, and I should have more because there was a time I was trading stuff in once I finished it, but that has long since passed. So there's another dilemma that I have as a collector with limited space. PlayStation 5 and Switch games, which I'm buying more PlayStation 5 games probably than ever at the moment. I think the system has picked up pretty well, and although I don't buy a ton for it, I still need to factor in the space in order to keep buying modern games. More so for the Switch, because even though we now have the Switch 2 out, which is another thing I'm going to need to factor in, I still am going to be buying plenty of Switch 1 titles. So that's kind of where I am as a collector right now. But I want to hear from you guys. Where are you as collectors? Where does it end for you? Because at the moment, I don't see an end game for myself. I'm quite happy with the old stuff I've got, bar a few select titles. As I say, I'm going to sit down at some point and curate a list, a collection. And of course, that's going to get expanded on when I find out about games I've had very little or no knowledge of, and they get added to the list. But at least it gives me something to focus on, and it'll give me an idea of the sort of space that I need to keep in play in order to maintain my collection. But again, I want to hear where you guys are. Have you overspent? Have you gone crazy with your collection? Are you running out of space? And if so, what are your plans moving forward in terms of your collection? Now, some of us have got unlimited space, and kudos to you. I'm very jealous. I'm very envious in that sense. If I had that kind of space and that real estate in order to have a larger gaming area / games room, I probably would be even more spending on video games and collecting more cartridge-based systems. For that reason, I do emulate a lot of 16-bit stuff, in all honesty, because I just don't really have the room. I would love to have a Super Nintendo collection. I would love to have a Mega Drive collection, but I don't let it bother me. I'm a bit of a realist when it comes to what I have and what I can achieve. But I want to know, you guys, do you look to seek more space? How creative are you? What are you willing to sacrifice in your day-to-day life in order to get your gaming room, your gaming area to the condition that you want it to be? Now, one of the best gaming channels out there is Retro Ghetto. Now, Callum, great guy. I'm proud to call Callum a friend, and I love the way he collects. But you can see, even someone like himself with a fantastic gaming area, he faces challenges week in, week out in order to keep changing that room and making it, the aesthetics, shall we say, still look attractive. And to him, at least, that room needs to be perfection in his eyes. It's what he works on constantly, and he works very, very hard on this. There's other gaming channels out there that have a similar nature, and I'm just not mentioning them at the moment. You'll know who they are. I'm just using one as an example. But yeah, I don't really have that option, but I know a lot of you guys do. I see on YouTube, I see on Facebook groups, I just see on the internet in general, some people with fantastic collections, but when I look at these rooms, I'm seeing rooms that are full to the brim. Is that you? How are you going to move forward with your collection once you get to that stage where you think to yourself, I don't have room anymore? What are you going to sacrifice as a collector in order to potentially bring in more retro stuff? Or if you're someone that buys modern games as well, how are you going to keep your old school collection alongside the regular incoming releases of the modern systems? Now, I haven't mentioned the Xbox because I've kind of stopped picking up for that. There's a lack of physical releases for that. And although I'm disappointed, in some senses, I'm kind of relieved as well, because it means I don't have to focus on that system. So from a selfish point of view, I'm quite happy where I am with anything Xbox Series X, Xbox One related. Now, that brings me to the final part of my video. At any point, do you guys sort of have a stagnant moment in your collecting phase where you just, you're not on it? You're looking around and you're not seeing anything you really want. And I call it a phase because, it does pass. I go through spells and lulls where I think to myself, there's nothing I want right now. I'm not seeing anything, especially not from the mid-level type pricing games that I want to go out and pick up. So I do kind of look at it sometimes and think, what kind of subsets can I look to pick up to give me focus on collecting when I go out doing my game hunt videos and so on and so on. That was one of the reasons why I decided to jump on the Wii U side of things, but that is becoming increasingly difficult. I'm also deciding now to jump on the Ratchet and Clank games. That's going to give me something to pick up when I go out to gaming markets, gaming fairs, video game shops of all sorts, and I'm struggling to find any other type of game. But yeah, that's kind of where I am right now with my collecting phase. I would absolutely love to hear where you are with your collecting. What are your aims? What are your goals going forward? Anyway, guys, thanks for watching and listening as always. It's much appreciated. If you happen to enjoy the video, please give us a like. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel out massively. Give us a share. Leave us a comment. I'm really interested in everybody's opinions and thoughts on this particular subject. In the meantime, before I go, please take the time to check out our Facebook group. There will be a link to that in the video description below. And also, if you'd like to support the channel, please consider joining our memberships from as little as 99 pence a month. Any money that comes in via memberships will eventually go into giveaways on the channel. As always, guys, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all on the next video. Keep gaming and stay safe.